Hey there, everyone. It's Patricia Hayes here, and I'm so glad to be back with you here for session 2 of this series, which is called Maintaining Your Professional Networks in Times of Crisis. And not only are we going to maintain it, we're also going to build it, and I'm going to show you how to do it. For those of you who aren't familiar with me, I am a lawyer by training with over 30 years of professional networking experience as a professional lobbyist, registered lobbyist, as a manager, and as an executive in C-suite positions through nonprofits and in state government. And let's just say I've done a lot of networking down through the years and building relationships, and I kind of know a little bit about it. But what this is all about is me sharing that information with you and how you can manage your networks in times of crisis and why it is important. In our session 1, if you've already watched it, I encourage you to go back, because in session 1, what we talked about was pull yourself together. You have to do it. You have to take the time to breathe. You have the time to assess your situation and the situation of your network, and then you got to start taking some initial steps to reaching out to people in order to figure out how you can best support them. Because here's the thing, when you reach out to them, they will reach back out to you, and that's how we continue this networking that will support all of us through this crisis. I am a huge advocate of networking to net give, which means you're not networking just to see what you can get, but also to see what you can give. And that is what is going to help us through this crisis that we are currently facing nationwide. All right, with all of that said, let's dig straight into session 2. And session 2, we're going to talk about what you need to do to focus on others first. I've already laid the groundwork for saying that it is extremely important to be able to identify what those around you need. Even if you have great needs, you have to acknowledge that there are people around you in need professionally, right? I'm not talking about personally right now, but that may bleed in, because right now, if you have a professional colleague and they're worked up and concerned about the fact that they've got 4 kids at home and how are they going to maintain their realty business in the midst of that, then guess what? You do kind of have to take into account what's happening personally for them as well. That's what we're going to talk about, and how you can support people and get supported in the process. So, first of all, when you focus on others' needs first, it comes back to you twofold, right? This is not hokey stuff. This is not woo-woo stuff. It's just the facts of life. We know it to be true, and it continues to be true, especially right now. So we're going to have a few things that we're going to talk about on how you can get to focusing on others first, and what that will mean, and how that will help you to maintain and build your network during this time. First of all, we talked about reassessing some initial needs yesterday. That was just for starters, okay? First of all, what we're talking about today is now it's time to reassess so that you can reprioritize, right? So based on what you learned in session 1 regarding your needs and wants, and regarding the needs and wants of your network, now it's time to reassess. And how do you do that? First of all, identify where there's overlap. If there's overlap between the things that you need and the things that your network needs, let's pull those out, highlight those, whatever special thing they are, okay? If there are wants that you have right now that overlap, pull those out as well. Why would we talk about your wants when people are so focused on your needs? Well, just focusing on your needs keeps you in a scarcity mindset, right? It keeps you thinking about, oh my God, I don't have X. Wants keep you thinking about what you could have. It's the hope factor. That is why I want you to include that in your list. Because in this time when there's so much uncertainty, you have to have hope and remember that this is not a permanent situation. it may be extended longer than any of us are comfortable with or want, but it's not permanent. And when we come out of it, you need to be prepared to move forward, not just on what your existing needs are, but moving forward on what those things you wanted all along, so that you know already. Other people are not going to be doing that. Other people are still going to be trying to figure out, what happened and oh my gosh, but you can be prepared to move forward because you've already identified that, okay? This is why it's important. Do not blow it off. Don't blow it off for yourself. Don't blow it off for your network. That's how we get supported. That's how we continue the circle economically, and we help each other by addressing our needs and making plans to implement what we want and to seek out and support that. You never know what opportunities are going to be presented to you at any given time, or where they're going to come from. So be ready. And how are you being ready? By writing it down, identifying it, and so that you and those around you can bring it to pass. That is what networking is really about, okay? It's about leveraging your contacts, leveraging your relationships, leveraging your knowledge, and what it is you can do and how you can help others. There's a saying that I love, and I can't remember where it came from right now, but everything that comes to you is not for you. Think about that. Everything that comes to you is not for you. And if it's not for you, then who is it for? Potentially to help those around you, in your professional circle, in your personal circle. So don't think just because an opportunity comes to you, I'm like, oh, that's not something I'm interested in, and then you blow it off. That's irresponsible, especially right now, because the next level is, who do I know that could benefit from this? That is nurturing your network and helping them out every day, but especially today. All right. So you've taken a look, you're reassessing and reprioritizing. So first thing you've done is that based on what you learned in yesterday's session 1, you're going to look at, what the needs and wants are. You're going to identify where there's overlap, where things are kind of seeming like maybe they're kind of hanging out there and you're not really sure. Don't mark anything off the list just yet, because remember, you've still got a few steps to go. Secondly, you don't want to be afraid to ask people what they need. So as you're walking through this and you're trying to reassess where things are for yourself and your network, don't be afraid to ask people what they need. If they need mental health breaks, maybe, who knows a therapist? Who knows someone who can say, hey, here's a great counselor that can tell you how to help keep your kids from, driving you crazy during this time, right? What immediate financial and economic assistance is available, okay? There's tons of that's going around, from local chambers of commerce, from the federal government, from state government. So, maybe it's cluing someone in to where all that information is consolidated so that you can give that to them in a short, in a quick summary, okay? Childcare. Childcare is huge. And we all know that right now we're having to do things according to what our state and local governments are saying regarding whether you're, to the point of sheltering in place or keeping small groups of less than 10. Whatever that is, maybe the child care is an issue for someone in your network that you could help facilitate for them, all right? And innovative opportunities. This is what I was referencing a little bit ago. Not just any opportunities, but innovative ones. New, outside, thinking outside the box types of opportunities that may get presented, and how you can share it and who you can share it with, okay? So that's that whole reassessing and then prioritizing what those needs and wants are, okay? Based on your conversations that you're starting to have, based on the things that you're observing that's going on within your network, all right? Number 2, don't assume that you know what people need. Don't assume it, because where you might think that that person who has, 3 or 4 kids at home, you're like, oh my gosh, they're going to need help with childcare. How are they doing it? You don't know. Maybe they have a grandparent. Maybe they have an older sibling or family member who's helping out. I don't know. Don't assume what people need. Sometimes people need help in the things that we least think of, right? So don't make assumptions about it. That's that initial piece. That's why I said we were going to come back and explore this more in depth. You might think someone may need that, but when you start talking to them and you're like, oh, wow, I didn't even think of that issue. So that's why don't assume what people need. Ask the questions more in depth, and so that you can flesh out what that looks like, all right? Number 3, stop hiding. It is so easy now to go into hiding with all of this, to do whatever bare minimum is being required for you at work or for your business, or if you're just like stuck and don't have any idea. This is not the time to go into hiding. This is the time to get out and start sharing your story. And who else, and not just sharing your story, but sharing the story of others, okay? I'm implementing a lovely little project that's Network to Net Give, and we're going to be doing exactly that. And I'm going to be sharing the stories, not just of my own work, but of the work of others in my network, so that small businesses can continue to be vital. They are vital, but they can still continue to be, they can survive in this environment, right? That's what we want, and that's what we all need, okay? Big companies have access to more resources. I'm not saying they don't have problems and that they're not going to have problems. They absolutely are. But small businesses it is crucial to be able to maintain relationships and to be able to maintain contact with existing customers as well as future ones, all right? So don't hide. I know personally, this is something that's way easy for me. I don't have a product that I sell, like in a store, right? My services are consulting based. My services are things that are more, seeming like up in the air, but that doesn't mean that I need to go into hiding because I'm thinking, oh, no one needs that help. Absolutely. People need help strategizing. People need help thinking through situations right now. That is my expertise, which gets us to the second point of why you need to stay out of, not go into hiding, but rather to come out and to stay out there. Share your expertise. This is very, very important, and also connected to not making assumptions about what people's needs are. Okay? So share your expertise, whatever it is, share it among your network. Let people know what you're available to do. I did that last week, at the end of last week and the beginning of this week, and I will continue to do so. Okay? Because what you don't know is when someone will finally see that and be like, oh my God, why didn't I think about that? Why didn't I call Patricia sooner? Why didn't I call her? I reached out the other day to one of my former clients, and I'm like, hey, FYI, that networking workshop that I do and that I did for y'all a year and a half ago, I can do that networking workshop online, I mean, we can set it up online. I'm perfectly able and willing and capable of doing it. And just let me know if and when we can make it happen. Okay? It's reaching out and they're like, oh my gosh, I didn't think about that. Give me more details. Okay? These are the things that we can do. Share your expertise. And talk about how you can help. Because sometimes people forget. Some of the things that I have an expertise on are not necessarily the things that I'm working on right now the most, but that doesn't mean that that's not still there with me. Okay? So for those people who are maybe needing to now, share their ideas online in meetings in ways that they hadn't necessarily done so before, guess what? I've been a public speaker since I was 14 years old, like trained public speaking. I am perfectly able and willing to help you work through how to present your ideas in remote meetings. I am able and willing to be able to show you and to train you on how you can best lay out your ideas in a concise way that is going to be most effective for these meetings that you're now going to be hosting remotely. okay? There's tons of things and opportunities there that we all can share and that will be helpful to our network and helping to build out and for us to deal with what is currently our new reality, all right? And lastly, the thing that you absolutely have to do is review. You've reassessed, you've reprioritized, and you have to continue to review what your network's needs are. They are going to shift in the coming months. So what someone's primary need is right now, as things are in the beginning stages, it may be different than what it's going to be or what it looks like in 4 weeks or 8 weeks. Even once we get to the recovery mode, those needs are going to shift. So this is an active process, one there where you're going to want to continue the conversations, which is why I said to make sure to write down all of these things. Keep it in a notebook, keep it in a journal. If you're electronic, keep it in a document that you have access to. Whatever it is, write it down, keep it updated as things progress so that you can remain relevant in the current time as to what people's needs are, as to what your own needs are, and what your wants are going to be. Because what you want right now may be different than what you want in a couple of weeks or what you want in a couple of months, all right? So I want to make sure that you get that. If you want to be able to keep up with this series and to access it, be sure to contact me in the comments or in the messages. You can also go to my website, patriciavhayes.com, where you can connect to me there for all of my social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter's on there. I don't do a lot of Twitter, but Twitter's on there as well, whatever it may be. And or to just reach out to me privately via email. I'm happy to set up a consult to have a quick conversation if there's a need or an issue that you just need a little more insight on. Maybe it's something much more specific. Happy to set up a chat to make that happen, okay? All right. Next up on session 3 is going to be, and make sure my notes don't blow away. I encourage you to continue to get some fresh air, because that's what I'm doing. As you see, as I'm recording this outside, it's important while we are social distancing to still get some fresh air and to change your perspective whenever you can, okay? But session 3, we're going to talk about who's missing from your network, okay? And how you can address that concern. Take care, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.